Hi guys, and welcome to another Writerly Wednesday. I'm going to try to keep it fairly brief today, but because we're still harnessing the energy and the magic of NaNoWriMo, I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about how writers do this magical unicorn thing of going from the beginning all the way to typing in the words "the end." So I don't want you to despair if you've had lots of false starts and you've been really challenged, or maybe you've written a full manuscript, but you are now in the editing process and you're feeling that real pressure and the real challenge of staying on target. Here is my advice this week. Number one, absolutely always, we want you to prioritize your creativity. That's the way it's going to get done. But what does that mean, prioritize your creativity? Well, number one, it means you need to schedule it in. It's really not good enough to just hold this nebulous dream in your head or in your heart. Of course, that makes sense. And that's a good place for it to start. But you need to actually schedule yourself in. That's what making your creativity a priority means. So whether you are working, whether you are a parent, a sibling, a partner, an employee, whatever is happening in your life, chances are your attention is being pulled in a million directions. Whether you're going for NaNoWriMo or you're just making your own personal National Novel Writing Month, you need to set a container around when are you going to write, how long are you going to take, and you actually put it in your schedule. I want you to be real with yourself about what your schedule looks like. There's no sense in saying, I'm going to spend 4 hours a day writing if you're doing this, that, and the other. I want you to think about your own natural energy and where you can actually fit the writing in. Chances are, if you follow where you naturally feel creativity and already have some pockets of time, you will get more writing done in shorter time bursts than ever before. That's number one. Number two is a little bit related to that, because once we schedule ourselves in, chances are you're going to have to tell other people, hey, I'm not going to go to lunch every day this week. Friends or colleagues, I'm actually going to spend my lunch hour writing my project. Great. That's the beginning of gathering your support crew. Now, your support crew could be, like in National Novel Writing Month, we oftentimes make connections with other writers, right? So we've got this shared goal, but individual goal, and we keep our friends and ourselves accountable that way. But your support crew needn't be somebody else who's writing. It could just be somebody who loves you and knows you, and that you've been brave enough to share this dream of yours with, but they'll ask you about it and they'll support you actually getting it done. Hopefully, your support crew are not the kind of people who are enablers who will let you sabotage yourself, but rather say, you know what, I know how important this is to you, and I support you going out and taking extra time. I will do this for you, or I will do that for you, or maybe we can trade off, especially if they're another writer, kind of like looking after each other's kids or whatever, just so you can get in some extra writing time, right? The other thing that I want you to think about is that sometimes one of the real struggles when you're writing a story, especially a first draft, is to keep on it. The messy middle is notorious for losing people because it can seem so long and like never ending. But here's the thing. Often when that starts to happen and we feel dried up a little bit creatively or a little bit confused about which direction we're going, it's because we've experienced a disconnect with our story. So my advice to be able to keep going from beginning to end is to reconnect with your story and or your characters. And if you've been around a while, you will have heard some of my advice on how you might do that. There's going to be a YouTube video about it that you can certainly find how to connect with your characters. But take a moment or 2 moments or even a full writing session if you're really feeling a bit of a block, and feel into your story. What do you need to share about it now? And one of the best ways is to actually have a conversation with your characters. I'm not going to get too much into it, but if you've been around, you'll know what I mean. And if you don't, go find that other YouTube video. And finally, the way that we go from beginning to end is we just keep showing up. Every day isn't going to be the same. It's true. And especially if life presents itself, a kid is sick. Hey, I've got that too. You got to go collect somebody from school unexpectedly, or a big work project comes up, or some sort of an emergency. That's life, and that's okay. You should go and take care of whatever you need to take care of. But because we are prioritizing our creativity, we need to show up again the next time. The only difference between an aspiring writer and a writer is a writer sits down and writes every chance they get. It's not a writer is somebody who only writes good words, who only tells an amazing story, who doesn't need any editing. None of those things are true. The only difference is the person who's willing to keep showing up because they prioritize their creativity, and the one who, surrenders to those nasty things that the internal editor can sometimes say, right? I believe in you. I know you have a story to tell. It's definitely time to tell it. Now is the time that you can do it. I hope some of this advice has really helped. I would love to answer any other questions you have, especially for next Writerly Wednesday. So please share with me, what are some of the ways that you have prioritized your creativity so that you could go from those beginning words to typing those magical words, the end, on your story. Until next time, keep writing. I want to read that story. Bye, guys.